All right, so I don't know, but I am getting more and more obsessed with these freaking Tapper things. Can I figure out how to be even competitive? I'm like, wait a minute, this is fun. I don't know, call me crazy. Mana from Crypto Alpha and like a million other things. You chat a lot about that.
Hey guys, uh, hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Am I losing my
Oh,
internet right now?
yeah, yeah. The
Yes,
voice got cut.
I think that one of us has internet problems.
I think
I don't
it's
know who it
me.
is.
I think it was me. It's saying it was. Yeah, okay. I think it's good now. That's interesting. It was actually showing me the little Wi-Fi thing. It was like, hey, your connection's freaking garbage right now. But then it actually went back up. Huh, cool.
Okay, cool.
All right. So, anyways, hello. Uh, freaking tell us everything. TC, the only tapper I'm playing that actually pays out. Yeah, maybe start there. Like, what's the main kind of how does Crypto Alpha work and what makes it awesome?
Uh, yeah. So when we started, we thought we just want to build something which creates engagement, right? And then we can
Hmm.
funnel users to different projects. What we realize is, even though there are tappers everywhere, just farming, just engagement doesn't do anything, and people get bored out, and then they just drop off. So you need to give them something which keeps them engaged. For us, the idea was, hey, let's have token mining, right? So
Hmm.
every week we'll bring on partners on board, and then we'll have token mining enabled for them. What this does for the partners is, like, on average, whenever any partner comes to us on board, they get about 500,000 eyes on them, right? And then immediately all the social metrics go up, and then their market activity also blows out. Like, they will start seeing people playing around with NFTs, and then even with LSWAX, a lot of new people acquired LSWAX, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and then in return they can also reach more holders, because for example, one of the tokens, when we launched, they had like 200 holders. Now they have about 800 holders, which is crazy on Wax, because after top 10, rarely any project has more than 1k follower like holders. So
Yep.
that's the thing we started with. But I think what we went wrong in the way was, we started build engaging, and we wanted to retain the initial audience which was on Wax. And then this led us to a loophole where we kept building just for Wax and Wax. And now, when I'm trying to scale up, and the minute I, let's say, run an advertising campaign outside, let's say on Telegram, people will come to me, and the 10 users that are onboarding, they just drop off because it's too hard to create a wallet. They're like, okay, what do we do with both? How do I create a wallet? And then I will get just this many
Yeah.
dollars.
Let's take one step back there. How many users do you currently have?
Currently registered with us is 2,500 users, and then daily, our retention is actually pretty good. We have daily 800 like tappers, like unique tappers daily. uh,
Okay.
we- yeah.
And
But
of those users, how many were users that you tried to onboard to Wax and managed to retain?
onboarding to Wax is the funnel that we haven't solved yet. Right now, I think about 100 to 150 users are there, which we on personally onboarded. And like almost the user experience for almost every user was, uh, one of us, like one of our team members, would get in touch with them, and then maybe we'll send them a Cloud Wallet promo code, or we'll guide them. First, we tried sending them to Wombat, but we realized Wombat doesn't support a lot of tokens. They are very selective about tokens, so you can't do transfers freely. So, like, onboarding is really hard. So right now, what we are trying is, we are trying to figure out a way where we can detach the connection from Wax, and it becomes more about the Telegram itself, so that we can freely scale. And uh, like, one of the ideas we currently are building, and we are almost done with it, and through which we will scale, is we created a engage to earn bot, which anybody on Telegram can install in their group. What it does is, it tracks your chatting, right? So as you chat, it auto tips you points, alpha points. And this is how we are trying to get into the all the other Telegram groups. So of course, like, that one is only in two groups right now. We installed it on Chad and on our like on our TG server. we are experimenting and making sure in 1 to 2 weeks the algo is perfect, then we're gonna bombard every other community on Telegram and we're gonna, hey, we can get your users start engaging, and then we'll reward them alpha points for engaging, and let's see how it works. So that's how we are trying to build the connection and then get the users on board to alpha.
Okay, and what was the biggest challenge when trying to onboard people to Wax? What do you think it's the biggest point of friction there?
Just getting a wallet name, it's very hard. Like if let's say you ask users to go to Wombat, then Wombat has add-on steps. Let's say you even manage to get a Vex wallet there, but in Wombat all the tokens are not supported. So for example, we have mining
Yeah.
for chat or tools, right? It will just reject those tokens, so that one
Okay.
won't work. Then if we send them to Cloud Wallet, they're like, it asks me for YVX fee, and now it's a very cumbersome process when we ask them, hey, you need to add them, you need to add 5x, and then you need to stake this and that, right?
But what about the promo code, the invite code for them?
Yeah.
Haven't
So
you approached the
that
Wax
code,
team to get
it's
that?
still cumbersome, right? So like let's say when we ran a test at campaigns last week, and we got 30 users, 20 dropped off because it was too hard, 10 came to us, and let's say now instead of running the ad campaign to 100 users, we are running it to 1,000 users. How the hell will it gonna manage those promo codes, right? It's gonna be very hard, and then we can't just give promo codes out through the app, because then people will just exploit it, bot it, and then maybe create a lot of bots. uh, so I don't think that piece is solved yet. So what we want to do instead is ask users to connect on, and then maybe figure out a way to segregate us to X, so that we can first onboard users and then solve the onboarding problem, because that's not the primary issue, right? First we want users and then we can funnel the users to X.
Yeah, sure. But it's kind of disappointing that that the onboarding to Wax is proving to be so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
it's sorry. I just noticed, and this is maybe how Adrian's kind of sidestepping it. Even having Wombat, which is not handling every token, but obviously it's a pretty big wallet. They're just not making people attach a wallet to it at all. Now, granted, for token mining and stuff like that, you kind of have to, right? But
Yeah.
it's interesting that they've graded out like that. They're until everything is substantially further down the road, they're not even giving people an option to attach the wallet, which is curious.
Yeah. Actually, we're also gonna do the same. So whoever is from the vaccine, like anybody who has attached a Vax wallet will automatically start mining tokens. But if somebody has not attached, he will never know whether token mining is there or not. Like
So, like in Crypto Alpha, like you basically go in there and you can see all the tokens that you've mined kind of virtually, right? And then you can claim them. And it still costs points to claim them, right? You just sort of like mine those up and then okay, cool. What if you made a certain dollar amount, like you basically gray out attaching the wallet until there's like $5 worth of stuff in there, right? And then you've got the token totals in there. If there's a way to get into even just the basic price API to give people an idea of what all that stuff is worth in USD, because right now it's very arbitrary, right? You could have 0.001 cents for all you know, right? Yeah. And they basically have that limitation. So people have a real sense of, okay, like I got $5 in there, I got $10 in there, or whatever, and I want that, so I'm going to go spend $1 to get a Wax wallet or whatever. So you should, like, that vested interest is actually sitting there, and they can see it.
Yeah, that's an idea. Nice idea. Let's. I think we can definitely add the pricing, but like we are gonna do it in experiments, right? So week 1 is we'll just onboard users with Engage to Earn bot, and then maybe have some other engagement metric. But we want to try this out also. Mm-hmm. But my insight is, the last thing users want to do is connect wallet, even though that's so intuitive, right? Telegram,
yeah, for us, yeah.
So you don't even want them to know there is something like a blockchain or a wallet involved. You want to just have them tap and wait for a future event, while they have, let's say they have spent 1 month, 2 months down the line. That's the point when you ask them to attach the wallet. That's the insight I have got, at least from the users I have personally manually been in touch with and then trying to get them on board. So that's the route I think we're gonna take. We are not gonna ask users to attach the wallet, and then even the partnerships we do, we're gonna tailor the partnerships more around maybe joining socials, and then connecting wallet would be a later step.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've been thinking a lot about that. Like, and this is kind of in our early discussions, thinking in terms of having like literally everything we possibly can inside the app itself, right? So you've got stuff that, is technically an NFT down the road or is a token or what have you, but it's basically just in a virtual wallet. Like we just basically have that in our database. And, down the road, you can attach a wallet and do that like only basically when you want to cash out, right? Like you're in there, you're doing all the things. You're having all the possible fun, but it's literally all, virtual as far as like, blockchain people like us are concerned or what have you. But then, when there's a wallet, it's like, obviously, like I want to cash out my $50 or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to get a fucking Wax wallet because I have to, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Okay. So there are tons of updates in how Crypto Alpha works now. Let me actually pull it up here. I went in and finally got all the NFTs. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did with the NFTs?
Yeah, so NFT passes is just like it adds a couple of perks. One, you get a premium screen, right? Like a very entirely different dark mode, which is pretty cool.
It is.
Right? And then you don't have to tap, just a single click, and then you're there. Like you don't have to keep tapping. And then every VIP pass adds plus 3 hours to your mine, right? So, for example, the base time any new player who gets on board is 6 hours. But like if you have one VIP pass, you'll basically get 9 hours, and then with each pass it increases. Other perks is when you tap, like whenever you mine, you have a chance to win one token at max. But with VIP pass, you can win 5 tokens at the same time. So that's another perk. And then there's one more perk. You get it's a RNG algo, but let's say RNG decided that you won, let's say 10,000 WOOF, right? You will have a 10x boost on that. So if you want 10,000 WOOF, you will instead get 100k WOOF.
And that's if you have one. So I bought 3 because I read somewhere that 3 stack basically, right?
Yeah, so it's a 30x boost. So you see the boost right down.
Right here. Hello. Yeah, I'm not unexcited about that. It's pretty fun. And yeah, like seemed like a pretty good set of use cases. And then one thing I found is I was actually once I got them or what have you, to make them work, you have to stake them in Pepperstake. Yes.
Yeah, and on Pepperstake you also earn WOOF rewards.
Oh, I didn't even know that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Yippity frickin' doodah. So yeah, blockchain, do NFT stack. Yes, up to 3. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and so yeah, having the thing that goes up to 15 hours is pretty good for me. I mean, and I was saying, with you before, the if there's a way, I still would love this. If there's a way to do some kind of social mission that's automated every day that gets some kind of perk, I'd love to see that in any of these, right? Because just like making it get to that point where you sort of have that vested interest to do outreach all the time, like really consistently, and not just one person or the recruiter type or what have you. Just like if you want these points or this pretty exceptional perk, you get like literally incentivized to put your invite link onto a social media thing. Does that make sense? Or like is that too much?
Social retweet, like we thought about. So right now we have something where like every day we have a mission coming at 5:30 p.m. like IST or 12 p.m. GMT daily. So we have that automation in place. We also now have automation in place. If you click on the gift icon, you can enter a secret code, right? So we also have a automation in place where daily you get a secret code and then you can enter to get rewards. One thing, like 2 other things which are also coming this week later by weekend. One is leaderboards. You will have 2 types of leaderboards. One, of course, like what's the total points, but there will be one leaderboard which balances everybody. So it will be like your activity score, right? So the more activities you perform, each activity will credit you points differently, right? And then it won't be right, like if you mine more points or less, it won't count that. It will count the activities and will be a monthly comp of sorts, right? Where you can win the prizes, take away the prizes at the end, and you can withdraw them on any chain. So like if you decide to withdraw on, let's say, a Ton blockchain, you will withdraw them as USDT. you want to withdraw on Wax chain, you will withdraw them in USDT. So that's the direction we're heading. And then we are also going to have something like ads, right? So where you watch ads to get that. Social retweets we did, like we wanted to do retweets, but it's really hard to automate because you don't have the retweet URL before the retweet is posted, right? So you can only pick up some old tweet and retweet it. Random, like ask people to randomly retweet. We thought it would be very like spammy, but we're gonna test it out 1 week. If it works good, then we're gonna have it in our schedule.
Right.
Coming
I was just thinking like cause we're doing this with flip drives, right? Like you mint one, you basically can set it up so that it forms your tweet with the link to the image and a bit of your story or what have you, right? Like, so it's not even like you're going in and retweeting, like I'm sending out a tweet that specifically has my invite URL in it or what have you, right? Then I can add an image or whatever the hell I want to do, but it's basically like following through that link. Anyway, we can, there's tons of stuff to brainstorm, but that's something I'd love to see. I just want to point out, TC really loves the fact that it works on desktop. And so do I, because then I can show it off on the show, which is something I couldn't do if it was only on mobile. Max?
I will say that you're wrong, Corey.
What's
you
that?
can still share your screen on mobile, so you are able to show it here on the show, even if it doesn't work on.
If I'm sharing on mobile, like what, like this?
Yeah, no. Like you join StreamYard from your mobile phone and share your screen there, and it works. So come on,
I've never done that. Well, I would never do that. Like I would literally never do that. I never come onto StreamYard with my phone.
Technically, it's possible.
Okay, fine.
You're not
possible.
You're
very
not
inconvenient and very annoying, but yes, possible.
Might be, but it's possible. Technically possible.
That's okay. I have to respect that because anytime I make an absolute or somebody else makes an absolute statement, I automatically want to just say, well, that's actually not true. So Juan is doing it to me. I fucking deserve it. So there you go. Like, I earned that probably many times.
But yeah, this looks nicer, maybe. But yeah,
I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And like, it's just it's gonna be. I'm super stoked about ours, and frankly about all of them. Like I think just the deeper I get into this, kind of the more I can see it, right? And I'm getting excited to figure out how to get to really really big numbers because it's a space that is increasing right now, right? Like this entire space. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's going to be a lot of stuff out there. It's still going to be work to compete. But it's a genre that feels, like it's moving up, and I think we can make an impact. All of us that are doing this, we can make an impact, and we'll be able to do it together too, which is really fun.
So I have an extra question. I have an extra question for you, Manas. You started not with a mini app, but with a Telegram bot.
Yeah.
And you transitioned from the Telegram bot to the mini app. What are the advantages now? Why did you do this transition, and how are you benefiting your users with this change?
So I think my original thesis. So I think like a developer first. So my original thesis was what people really want is just to get to the leaderboard and then get some points and win something. They don't really care about UI UX. So that's the assumption I started, and hence I created a very bare bone structure which I quickly could launch, and that was a bot. But ultimately I realized that even though that's the primary motivation of people, to get up the leaderboard, acquire most points and win rewards, but UX makes a lot of difference because when I'm going and advertising it on Ton, if anybody, like for example, I was talking to one influencer who we're gonna be launching in a couple of weeks, but the moment I showed him the original bot, he was like, "No way, people are gonna use it." So I don't even want to promote it on my Telegram channel. He had like 20K subscribers, but now that when I go to him with a better UI UX, he's like, "Okay, yeah, your socials look legit. You have 1K followers, and then you have a very good classy looking app. Now I think people gonna trust you." So I think UX definitely brings up the trust in people because right now there are too many apps, right? So people. Even though people spend a lot of time on these, but people are choosy, so they are gonna at most keep 10 or 20 apps at max. Like even if it's my day job to be on these tappers, I'm gonna choose 10 or 20 apps at max. So we have to figure out or check all the boxes where people are like, yeah, this is the one who's gonna be the winner, right? One thing we are lagging and why we don't have the growth yet is one, the market is too one was onboarding piece which will solve it in this week or later mid half next week. But the second thing was like there are just too many tappers, and then you have to create a funnel where users have something to stay. So what we have done is really cool is whenever you onboard a new user, on Friday this update will go live, but you will have an onboarding experience where you get 10,000 5 to 10,000 points, and then you have a locked price where you can win actual dollar rewards after the 7 day of check-in. So up to like $10. So like that's the onboarding piece we're going to try, and then we're going to amp up the onboarding campaign. I think 30K is the magic number. Once we hit that, then referrals do the later work, right? But I think the major complaint right now for us is like we haven't got the growth for us, and that's what we're trying to solve. Yeah,
Okay,
we went
and-
into too much build mode, I guess, in the last month, and now that we have automation in place, we're gonna build less and then market more.
Okay, and I have another question for you here, because you are one of the only Tapper apps out there that is constantly rewarding people with a tiny amount of tokens, but you are rewarding them basically every day.
Yeah.
How those people like that? Is that really something that motivates them, even if the value is very tiny?
I guess it does motivate them because the retention for us is pretty crazy compared to other apps, right? So it does motivate them. It isn't something we can scale. Like we could scale it to 2,000, 3,000 users, but I don't think we can scale it up because we can't make sure the reward scale, alongside it. So we're gonna leave it to the wax users and we're gonna do leaderboards instead for the scale piece. But it does motivate them, and then it's more like they are waiting for something big, right? Which would be a event maybe early in December or before that. But at the same time they have instant gratification, and then the RNG again, it's like a addicting loop where anytime you mine, you either win something or you don't, and you don't know what you're gonna win, right? Or whether you're gonna win or not. People complain about it, and like we want to optimize the algo, but it's at the end of it, it's RNG, and I think that RNG is also a big piece which excites people, right? Even though sometimes it isn't always fair, but it always excites. Yeah.
Well, an RNG will never be fair. How can an RNG be fair? It's just a random number. Where's the fairness or unfairness in that?
It's just statistically sort of everyone has the same
on
chance
average,
as far as the fairness is concerned, but it's going to be variable.
Yeah. Like on average, after 6th month, you're gonna end up almost average to other people, But if you look at a very smaller lens, you will see, okay, like I'm not winning anything or I'm winning anything. So I think instant gratification in that addicting loop is there, but it's very hard when people see some people winning really big prizes like 10. So we have cases where people win 10 to 12x a single mine, right? And then we have a cases where people wait for whole 15 hours and they don't win anything, and then it hurts to them when they see other people winning 15 racks and then they're not winning anything at all. But yeah, like we're gonna, yeah, it's possible to change the wallet. You just have to raise a ticket on Discord or like tag us on Telegram.
Okay. Yeah, so you basically just have to do it manually and chat with you guys, but it can be done.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So basically, that's something that you can do right now, but it won't be possible once you scale and have thousands of users.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll go nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works better with leaderboards, I think. Monthly leaderboards, and then having something like a comp which happens regularly and then engages people and then rewards some users at the end. I think that's something that can scale rather than rewarding everyone.
Yeah, we've been thinking about that a lot too. Like obviously, like having the big sort of kind of longer term thing that everybody's sort of competing to get a slice of or what have you. But yeah, getting those medium term things that everyone can feel like they're competitive in, because sort of everybody starts at kind of a similar level for points for that section of time or what have you. We've been thinking about that a lot, just because having the ability to continually sort of give reasons for literally everybody to feel like they can come in and be competitive felt really important. Because one of the things on I didn't really get connected to any of these things until I actually felt like I could move up the leaderboard in a way that wasn't ridiculous, right? I see all these people with like gazillions of points, and I'm like, oh cool, I have like 10, right? And there was not really any way to sort of see the arc, but once I did, it became a kind of a different thing for me, right? So I think having that ability to kind of show somebody who gets here tomorrow in any one of these things that, hey, like there's this thing that you can actually do, you can get started right now, and you can see yourself on that leaderboard potentially, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Muy cool. Yeah, I like it. It's weird too. One was so on the Wuffy one, it's a lot more about the sort of consistent tapping, right? And I thought I wasn't gonna like that. And Juan was like, yeah, no, it's all right, right? So I like the whole kind of upgrade arc in Tap Monsters. I'm a huge fan of, and I didn't think that I'd be, that I'd really get connected to the whole, constant tapping requirement in Wuffy, but I totally did. Like it just, especially like the whole idea that you have that, daily, you can go in and do the sort of speed tapping kind of thing over those short periods of time and that makes an impact, right? Like if you just did that, you'd be, gaining a significant percentage of somebody who's obsessed with it and doing it all the time, right? Which is really interesting to me. And again, those people that do want to do it all the time are still going to benefit, right? So it's a good little balance. And that actually made me start thinking about in Crypto Alpha. I was asking you, like, please just let me come and tap once a day. Please just let me come and tap, right? Like you gave me that option, and I took it. That's like super fun. But that, like, almost immediately I started wondering if there was sort of a way, or if there would be any demand, or if it would really be even interesting, even with that situation, if you could have a some kind of bonus where if you were tapping, you were getting something, like some potential element for surprise and delight, or what have you. Was it just I was like noticing in my brain? It was sort of interesting that I flipped on that.
Yeah.
That's weird. TC, did you check the blockchain on that? Because ordinarily NFTs don't disappear from people's wallets as a rule. That'll be interesting. Oh, excuse me, more coffee. Yeah, had a gig last night. It was late. Freaking rock and roll, man.
Yeah. So
cool.
So what else? What's next for Crypto Alpha? Where are you heading?
So with the release which happens this week, leaderboards, and then advertising, and then all the automations of missions and codes in place, I think we're gonna like stop building as in, like, instead of putting 70% efforts on building more features, we're gonna stop there and maybe put 20-30% effort, and then all of our team will just focus on getting the word out, right? Trying to get the Engage to Earn bot installed in other TG groups, and we already started talking with other groups, and we are not following the chain, like we are not targeting other tappers, but rather other legit Telegram groups that are there, right? And we're gonna go and, like, we are telling them, hey, we can get people engaging in your group through a bot, and that's how we are gonna onboard people. So that's one strategy, and then advertising campaigns is another. We are, we did some experiments last week. We got good results, but onboarding was hard. But we're gonna scale up the advertising there. But yeah, that would gonna be main focus.
What kind of advertising have you done? Can you elaborate on that? Can you?
Yeah. So yep. So there is Fragment and there is Adsgram. So like these are two ad platforms on Telegram. Fragment, what it does is you can select any group, like any channel on Telegram, and you can show your advertisement on that channel if that channel allows advertisement, right? So you can target specific channels. and you can say, hey, I want my ad to maybe be visible in TapSwap. Obviously, the more popular the channel, like the higher the bid up will be. So you have to be very selective
Yeah.
about which channel you want to target. But that's one place. And then you would have seen in some apps where you actually watch a video where you see an ad for 10-20 seconds
Mm-hmm.
and then it closes. That's AdsGram. So we have an integration, like we already integrated with AdsGram, like on the back end. Front end is still out to be pushed, and then we're gonna have an integration with Fragment also. And then these are the two which we're gonna use. And apart from that, we also like tried experimenting on Instagram. Instagram also works so good, like to get the
And
leads.
regarding, for example, budget, what does your advertising budget looks like, and what kind of conversion rate do you get from
So
the different ad platforms?
yep. So the best, so mini campaign that we ran, the best countries to target for us was Africa and India, because these are like if you are looking for users who will stay engaged with them. Like I don't know right now how monetizable they are, but they are the most value users. Like those who you can acquire at very less cost compared to other countries, and then you can also retain them. So these are the users I'm targeting. Instagram is the cheapest, but on AdsGram, I was about paying like 0.1 ton every 1,000 views. But I think the real views were like close to 200, 300 views. And then out of 300, I think 10 to 12% users get converted. And then it depends on your app, right? Whether it's retaining or not.
And what's your ideal user? Because you say that India and Africa have been
Yeah.
the countries showing better conversion, but
Yep.
wouldn't you be better off with users from Europe, from North America, where people has more purchasing power and can eventually um, help you better monetize your application?
Yeah, it's more about, so we like all the teams on Vaxchain, they're underfunded, right? Like so, like imagine most of us were gonna start with very less funding. Like even the VIP pass sale we did, we raised about $3,000 at this point, right? So like, and developers, let's say even though we are developing, we're gonna all do it without payroll. So we're gonna spend all those budget there. But if you have low budget, I think the better bet is to get a lot of users first, and then sell, like show those users to get other people on board, right? Because if you have, let's say,
Mhm.
300K users, you have a better chance to get eyes into like other countries, because they will see users, they will come, right? So that's a thesis. And but that doesn't mean we're not targeting them. For them, we are finding groups and we want to install Engage to onboard there. So we're gonna do organic marketing with the other countries, and then like our initial focus is just English speaking countries because it's easy for us to scale. But
Mhm.
install Engage to one, that's gonna be one branch which Dejan gonna handle. Dejan is another person who works with me. Like he is also co-founder, and then I'm gonna take just the advertising piece and focus on these two countries, and then we're gonna see what kind of results we get. But yeah, like on one side, Engage to earn bot, which we're gonna get installed on as many groups as possible, and then second, advertising happening in these two countries.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that the constant rewards that you have now will be only for the Wax users. So,
Yeah.
what will be the what will be the incentive for the users you're planning to acquire in the near
Yeah.
future?
So one is obviously airdrop, right? But shorter term incentive will be monthly leaderboards with USDT prices, and like obviously a big alpha prices, and then USDT prices for the leaderboard.
Okay.
Yep.
Rock and roll.
And then for the first time user who comes in, he will also win a random prize on seventh day streak. So like the minute he, let's say he enters the app, he's a new user, he will see a onboarding flow, and at the end there will be option to claim a prize where he will get some alpha points and then a locked prize of sorts, which he can claim after seventh day, like when he comes in check-in seventh. And then that's again a RNG where you can either win some USDT prize, or you can win just alpha points.
I like that. I like that sort of locked prize kind of thing. Even if so, like on your 7th day streak or what have you, you get a prize, and like these are pretty good. Give it like a couple examples or whatever. But even if it was even better, you get like it doubles if you hit a 14-day streak or something. But even never mind the second part. I think you're smart to focus on that, right? Because if people stick around for 7 days, the chances that they'll stick around longer than that are probably pretty significant compared to the average.
Yep. After the 7 day, so like it's a reality check. So if a user is gonna stay, like we don't have to do anything else. If user is not gonna stay and he's just there to take away and then just go back, no matter how many incentives we give them in the future, he's always gonna stop right when we stop giving incentives, right? So at some point we're gonna have to stop, and we're gonna see if he loves the app, and he's gonna stick around for the future of it. I think 7 days is the cutoff, and then it's not too long of period where to create a habit. I think in 7 days you can create a habit also. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
And for example, if you think about other tappers with the Woofy tap, well, you're tapping to get a Woofy airdrop. There's a pre-allocated amount, and you will get your fair share based on your place on the leaderboard. If you go to monster taps, you have all these thing with the monsters. There's a theme around collecting monsters and so on, and still something that I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if you know that. You guys know what what's.
Why
are you playing tap monsters, for example?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be connected to the Chain Monsters game. I mean, for me, it's Adrian. So like I'm gonna be there anyway because I wanted to learn about it or whatever.
Awesome, but I mean, there's no clear
why do people tap, right?
I'm playing. If you go to Hamster Combat, you're playing for an airdrop. You don't know what will do it, but you know that there will be an airdrop at some point.
There's an airdrop. There's an airdrop in there.
What's the goal with Crypto Alpha?
Yeah.
Why should people play that?
That's what you're saying.
Oh, okay. With the Crypto Alpha, right? So with Crypto Alpha, it's very simple. We wanna build a prediction marketplace where, like, let's say elections are coming on, right? So we're gonna airdrop the token, which will be the revenue token for this marketplace. So like the white paper is there. Like our website is the alpha.world, where you will be able to see monthly updates, white paper. But that's the end goal. We want to build a community first, so that when we launch our app, we have enough users for it, right? And at the same time, we also want to build a funnel tool where we can funnel users to other apps. The end goal is that why we have a tapping app is, one, we can easily transition it later, the same Telegram app, into our prediction app. So it will be very easy transition because it's just a website, like to put it simply. And then we will already get the users who are already there on board with us, right?
And
so
your idea is to onboard people for the prediction markets app, and there will be a token, and they will be airdropped this token.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So that's the goal. Is
Yep.
that clear for all your users so far? For people who are going there and playing every day, it's that something that they
I think
they are aware of.
So like there are three buckets of users. One bucket who are familiar with these tappers, they intuitively know that's the end goal, right? Because they're doing it for all the other tappers, and that's the reason they're doing it. For like second bucket of people, they just like climbing up the leaderboard. They don't even really care about the points. And then these users sometimes come and ask us what's the end goal, and then we do convey that. But like we have to definitely do a better job there. And then we are gonna have a GitHub up, and then Gitbook up, and then we're gonna link it to the app very soon. So that's part of the whole. And third category is the people who have read the white paper, and these kind of users like are okay. But I think we have to do better work in the second bucket. I'm not too worried about that, because like I'm not looking at just these 2,000 users, but I'm looking at that 100k users which I want to acquire. And then I think most of these users are gonna know intuitively, because they are very accustomed to that habit. But like, let's say we are wrong in that assumption, we'll quickly correct it, and like that is already in works in progress. Like Gitbook is almost ready. We have to just link it up on the website, and we
Okay.
have, yeah.
Okay, cool. And where are you planning to build this prediction market platform?
Telegram app. It will just transition to a Telegram app. Like the
But
same.
will it be backed by blockchain, or it's
Yeah.
and which blockchain will you be working with?
So the token would be multi-chain. The launch chain would be where we get the most users, which I assume would be Ton. By the end of the airdrop. So Ton will be the first chain, but we'll connect other chains one by one. If you really look at it, like you can do all the processing on one chain. You just have to, have bridges and monetary movement in all the chains, right? So if you solve that piece, it's not really hard to cover all the chains. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
I
cool.
I like the already planning on just sort of going to whatever chain has the most people on it. I mean that seems like a logical to me.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool indeed.
Absolutely. That's
Why
gonna.
do you guys think people like let's say for example Hamster, right? Now it has about I think 150 million users, and airdrop is near, but like it's also pretty clear that airdrop value won't be as high because with 100 users as a base, you will hardly get something. Why do you feel that people still keep tapping there, and especially when they have made it really hard now?
Well, I think that one reason is because they already played a lot and they are already invested there. So it feels like a waste of all your effort if you go away right now. So I think that's what makes people keep on going back to Hamster. But if you think about the Hamster Combat, I think that the number of users has dramatically dropped in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think right now it's only around it's still too much to say, only about 80 million active users, but
Oh my
still 80
God.
million active users. It's a very decent number, right?
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So and I think Wuffy started doing this. The getting that like the short sort of 20 seconds to 60 seconds video clip and sort of incentivizing that, so you're sort of like getting the YouTube increase thing, right? And those things can be procedurally generated now, like the whole text to full working video thing, even with getting it to sort of like more or less map to the dog sort of like branding and stuff. You can sort of do that now. How much impact do you think that has on creating that loop? Because I know Hamster Combat, it's a huge part of what they do, right? Like they've got the little news updates and it's like a cute little hamster thing or whatever. I feel like they did like a really good job sort of linking all that stuff together.
Yeah, I think like if you look at most of these users, all they're doing is that opening the video and closing, right? Nobody's really watching. So
Right.
why are they? And then you will also see some apps who just you just have to check the news, which is go to the Telegram channel and then just open it. Like that's it, right? I think why these guys are doing it is just to get the views up so that they can get the revenue up, right? Advertising revenue up. That's the
That's
end goal.
possible.
Yeah, and then just getting the subscribers. So I think it's a good strategy to have. We also have these kinds of missions once every 2 weeks, but I don't think it adds any value in terms of user engagement.
But I think that it's different for WoffeeTap and for a Hamster, for example, because if you go to WoffeeTap and watch those videos are pretty useless. There's really
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
inside.
Hamster
I
has
think
a-
Hamster, if you take the time
News.
to watch the video, you really see actual news, and sometimes
Yeah,
it's even interesting.
they add
Yeah,
value.
I've watched them.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes I really watch the whole video, 2x speed or whatever, but sometimes it's interesting. In the case of Woffy, it's never interesting. It's always something that let's just
But
What's
yeah,
so? What's the difference one? Why do you watch the hamster one and not the Wuffy one? Do you think?
Because the Wofi one is really stupid. No, true. It's like they try to make a joke or whatever, but it's not really something interesting. With the Wofi tapper, sometimes I watch the videos because it's really news. It's something
Yeah.
that that adds
Hamster or with
value.
Wuffy? Which one?
With hamster.
Hamster,
With the
yeah,
hamster,
Hamster,
there's
they have
sometimes content that is valuable.
Yeah,
Interesting.
They
Okay.
have a consistent theme across. Even on the Twitter channels, you will see that they post news daily, right? That's their daily ritual, and then they're becoming like they are very effectively targeting that, right? And then one thing you guys would have seen with Hamster is they've become an advertising platform. So these guys have started doing is they have started contacting App Store games, and they are
Yes.
like, hey, we can get you users if you pay us like this amount of dollars, and then people actually go and play and then collect keys and input it, right? They have
Yes.
onboarded like 8 games. So I think Hamster, like their play is really simple. They want to become an advertising platform, like and a better advertising platform than whatever exists in the market already, right? And I think that's the value most of the tappers gonna have. But it's like at the end of the day, with that end goal, only 3-4 odd tappers can win, right? The other tappers have to figure out
Yes.
something else. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like Hamster is consistent with theme, Woofy not so much, and then like others are just blind copiers. They are just taking in whatever Hamster is giving them and copying, and then launching the same thing. Gems is doing the same thing. Like they're
Yeah.
basically copying just Hamster, scrapping off. They have gotten 5 million users, but are those value users? I don't think so, because at the end of the day, are they just for the airdrop, and do you think they're gonna stick around after that? That's also a question.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting understanding the different strategies and the different end goals that these tapper apps might have.
Yeah.
Yes. Sign me up.
Yeah. So, Manan, may I ask you about your other projects?
Yep.
So, how is your lending protocol progressing? What's the status there?
On the landing protocol, like so by the way, we also have a like if you guys can share the link, I dropped the link. So we also have a proposal up on VaxLab, and like it's a very detailed proposal, and like we have already started working on it. It's taking a lot of time because there are so many moving pieces, and then we had to go back a lot of steps. For example, we were building Oracle, like first initially we thought we'll have just a Oracle up and running with just plain numbers, and who just takes in the API data from outside and then writes it to the chain, right? But then we started thinking whether we want to monetize it or not, and we started working in that direction. I had a realization that it's too big of a project to have it on
Yes.
its own, and then I don't want to worry about it, and I don't even know how big is the market for that on Wax, right? So now we took steps back, and then we just decided, hey, we'll just launch a simple contract and then write the data to chain as a
Okay.
centralized.
How big is the market right now on Wax? It's Corey, my mother, and me who will buy from you. That's
Yeah.
that's the market.
That's why.
And
So
granted, like Juan's mom is a fucking baller, but other than that, it's a tiny.
It's a tiny
that's
market.
why
Yeah.
I thought it's not the best use of the effort. Let's start with centralized like Oracle. That's something we're going to deploy in the next few days. But whenever the demand comes, we can use the same Oracle and we can turn it decentralized, right? So we can update the contracts, we can make sure nodes run it. But I think even to incentivize that, so like, for example, John, if you want to run it, like it will cost you money, right? And then I'm gonna have to work around and introduce an incentive on how you can make that money back. Or let's say if let's say you decide to even run it free of cost. After a while, you're gonna be okay. Hey, nobody's using it. Maybe I shut down. So I don't think starting with decentralized makes sense unless there is enough demand.
Yeah.
On lending protocol, like we like so there are three pieces to protocol, right? One is insurance contract, because I think that's a very important component, because if we're going to make it fully decentralized, which is like rid of all the people, then it needs to have its insurance contract in place, where every time a transaction happens, a part goes to the insurance contract, right?
Mhm.
And then the hardest part for us to solve technically was liquidation service, where like you have to, like a block in blockchain, the transactions need to be triggered, right? There should be an action for everything. So we can't be the triggerers if it's a decentralized lending. So we
Mhm.
had to rethink how the incentives are. So the final form is that we have a very like free lending protocol which we're building, right? Insurance contracts take away like 1% of revenue. Then these liquidation trigger agents, anybody who can register it, will take away another piece of revenue, and then the rest of the revenue will go into two pieces. One, whoever is adding liquidity to it, like basically adding minting USDT and then adding funds to be lended, and then whoever is the UI layer. So it just like Atomic Hub, Nifty, right? Atomic Assets has a referral feature. We can register a
Mhm.
referral and you earn the 1%, 2% fee. So we're gonna have that 10-20% fee that UI layers can take away from that, and then these proportions will be adjustable, and we're gonna do it like just a multi-sig with all OIG, Vax team, and then some a couple of the node providers. So that's how we are going thinking. Right now, insurance contract is under progress, and then the Oracle is gonna be deployed. So that's the current state. It's like mostly with the lending protocol, it's just me, and then one more partner I have who's working, and then we are only able to spend 20-30% of our time, because crypto alpha takes a lot of time. So I really want that this project gets funded by Vex Labs. If this gets funded, it will be like a breath of fresh air, so that we can move faster and we can onboard a member. uh, I tried reaching out to a lot of projects, but I don't think like for something you don't even know how big of demand is, people can write down big dollars. Like we can maybe raise $5,000-10,000, but above that point, I don't think anybody is going to be willing to fund that project bigger than that check. So I think Vex Lab is our last bit. Otherwise, it's gonna take a while, but we're gonna like build it through and then eventually let it come to surface. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so still in the works, and is there an estimated date to release, or is it too early to say?
Too early to say, but how our plan is that when you read that proposal, and then there is a very detailed vision paper, like the second link, right? It has a very decentralized version. The
Yeah, I don't know
first
if Corey shared the links. I think he hasn't yet. Maybe
Links for
Corey,
what?
you can share the links that are on the private chat,
yeah, I'm
which
Oh
is
yeah,
the
we'll do.
proposal for the lending protocol
Oh yeah,
yeah.
can do.
and the vision. Yeah.
Yep. So I am thinking, if let's say by like August end or September mid, if we don't get like approved by funding for Vex Labs, I'm gonna like I'm gonna deploy a semi-centralized version by the mid of end of September or mid of October. So I'm gonna start with semi-centralized version and then slowly off there build it, because I think that would be very faster, right? So that's the goal, because writing code is not that hard. Like audit is going to take time, and then making it decentralized is a lot of effort, because you have to restructure the code a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think the original logic is that hard, because it's just normal mathematical computations if you know the formulas, right? Which, and the best part is the formulas are very easily accessible on exchanges. Like I could see liquidation formulas for Bybit and then even Binance. So it's very hard, like easy to compute interest, find a good interest rate, and then even when to trigger liquidations, this stuff. uh, there are some edge cases, but I think in semi-centralized version we can just add up the individual and the maximum limits of the day, right? So that would balance out the risk. So that's how I'm like thinking of starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that by the end of the year, you plan to have something there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, we can't like if I have to wait a year, I don't think it's a good like project to have. Like, I have to have something by October live, which people can use. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, upward and onward and all that shit. Oh, that's funny. All right, cool. All right, so TC just figured his shit out.
Okay.
Cool beats. Yeah, no, he's just trying to unstake some stuff.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, well, anything else we should cover before we break? And again, Mana, thanks for coming on again, man, and for all the work you're doing on Crypto Alpha. It's been real fun to see the updates and
Yes.
see it kind of evolve. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to also thank you guys for doing this show so consistently, because with when it's so hard to get up the user base, right? You guys would come in daily as a routine and then do that show, and then I have taken so many insights from this show. Like it's just like, okay, I want some new ideas, and I come to this show, and I almost every day I would find something which I can experiment with. I think that's really valuable for me. And then there are not a lot of shows, to be honest. I have watched other shows and all they do is engagement farming, but you guys do have bring real insights. And then you guys also talk about the issues that I want to solve on the wax. We have to get onboarding right on point, like you were saying on with Mike yesterday, because if we don't have the users, then everything else doesn't really matter, right?
Yep.
We can
Yeah.
run the nodes, we can be the node providers, we can have the OIG, everything else, but if we don't have users, at one point everyone is gonna press the switch off button, because the inflation will eat everything else up.
Yeah.
Yep.
May I ask you something else? I don't know if Corey is in a hurry to end the show, or
I'm not in a hurry. I just wasn't in a hurry at all. Just if there wasn't anything else, then there wasn't, but there is.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. No, but then I have an extra question for you, Mana.
Yeah.
You recently participated in the OIG election because you think that I believe that you think that by being an OIG you can make a change on Wax. You can have an impact on the future of Wax, right?
Yeah.
Do you still think that is the case?
Yeah, I think, see, if I have to put it very simply, I think being an OIG is a power position. So yes, ultimately there is Wax team, there are so many stakeholders, but if you are in a power position, you as an OIG, I still have a power to drive a lot of things, right? And then I still have a consulting power with the Wax team. If I can use it effectively, and then I can figure out, I think if I am doing some work, my strategy would change. Like right now, how I'm trying to solve is by building, right? If I was a YG, I would solve it by incentivizing, like figuring out a way to incentivize, and then rather me doing it, incentivize other people to it. So now, people raised question at that point that how will I do it, because Wax Lab is, technically they just consulted, but I think even consultation is a damn good thing to have. If you can consult Wax team, and then maybe if I can get on a 1 hour call with them, I can negotiate, okay, what do you guys have in mind for Wax Labs, and then how do you plan this, what do you think is important, what do I think is important, and then if I build a strong enough case, I think I can incentivize and move the things right along. So I still believe in that, but I think another realization I have is that it's not worth the effort. I think people overall, the picture is really technical still. So if I have to still get elected as an OIG, uh, it will take a different story to sell and a different work which I actually do, which misaligns it totally. So I don't think getting elected is that worth the effort. I would rather spend in time building, but I think still my stance is there. It's a power position which we can really change things.
Okay, but will you run again?
No.
No.
I need the momentum already. That was a point where I had to choose, right?
Yeah.
I haven't started a path, but now I've started and I have momentum in place. Why would I, break the momentum and do another thing? I don't think it's worth the effort.
Okay.
That's
That's an
a good-
interesting.
that's definitely a good insight.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, so I keep going back one. You've suggested it, and it seems like it would be um massive and maybe even necessary, right? Like all of the sort of the block producers or nodes, whatever, like the people that are getting paid, right? Um, half of that should be getting incentivized to get more users or more,
Well,
right? Like I understand that like the technology needs sort of maintenance or whatever, right? But getting to that point where, and so like if you're one guy and you're just a programmer, well, like you need to up your game, right? And you might need to bring somebody on to do promotions for you and satisfy that function, right? Because again, like the blockchain that you can build the most amazing Ferrari anyone's ever seen. If nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter. It's literally fucking irrelevant, right? We could have the best blockchain on earth. If we're not constantly bringing in users or partnerships or relevant things like that, then honestly, like it doesn't matter what you're doing with the technology. Like it really doesn't.
yeah.
And the sad part is we really have the best blockchain on earth. Why? Because yesterday, like I have the perfect statement, right? So yesterday, like I think someone on the chat was telling that if we had to pay for every transaction, we had to like pay 15,000 wax every month, right, for just the drops. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
collectively, the amount of activity people do on wax chain, like let's say, just real, not alien worlds, is still a lot. And then you're able to do that with a blockchain. That's like astonishing. I don't think other blockchains, like it's very economically viable, like the how our blockchain works. But the problem is it's economically viable for the users, it's not viable for the node providers, and then it can be
Exactly.
viable only when there is a flux of users coming in, and there is a
Yeah, no, you know what you just said basically is that communism is economically viable. Yes, communism is economically viable. Yeah,
yeah.
that's basically
I
what I
mean,
heard.
China's doing okay, I guess.
China is doing great.
No,
And
Yeah.
that's,
I think we can have both the things at the same time, right? Like if let's say fee model was not there, even if staking was a thing, right? If we figured out a way to make it easy for users, if you have enough users and enough usage of the blockchain, there will be enough wax staked to make wax valuable, and then make all the node providers worthwhile to support wax. So I think
Wait,
onboarding.
can you repeat that and sort of make the case, because I'm not 100% sure that's true.
Okay, so let's say there are a lot of users, right?
Yeah. In like the magical history times, I remember those days. It was fun.
Yeah. So you would make the usage a bit higher, right? So that means overall amount of wax to be staked will also increase, right?
Right, assuming that they all know how to do it and that they do it.
Yeah, like that's a separate UI problem to solve, right? That's a problem we have to solve, assuming that is solved. But so on the back end, more and more wax will be staked, less wax will be available. The demand for wax will increase because more people have to acquire wax to stake it. How it happens, how we automate, that's a separate issue, right? That's a UI guy has to solve that layer, right? Make
Okay.
it
Assuming that gets solved really well.
So if there is enough, let's say, supply, there is enough demand for wax, the price will increase. Like it's simply a price demand cycle curve, right?
Right.
Yeah.
More the demand, the price will also increase. So I think the economic model is still viable, but you have to have, like, the only flaw in that economic model, the originally US designed, is you have to have consistent demands, and it doesn't work. Like
So-
it works very badly on when the demand is super low, right?
So
Now,
I think I just identified a problem. Maybe you can tell me that I'm full of shit. Totally possible. So let's say you have 100,000 users, or 1 million, or 100 million. Doesn't matter. You have a certain amount of users, right? They have staked the amount that would let them do all the transactions they would literally want to do forever, right? We're not getting any more users ever. Inflation is still going up every month, and right, it's like there's a certain amount of wax that every user needs to have. So unless your user numbers are spiking, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Even if we have 100 million.
no, but that's like
Well,
if wax inflation is 4% a year, right? Let's say
No,
wax
but
inflation
the
is
thing is
4% a
that
year.
if there's no user growth, then there's a stagnation, and then
Yeah,
even if
like
there's a lot of wax staked, yeah,
yeah,
Right. It's like there's no
price,
demand, right? So like
exactly, there's no
even
demand.
the 4% thing is a whole thing, but like the supply and demand ratio becomes
like
net negative, right? Because like
yeah,
if everybody has all the stuff that they personally need, right? The only way the price of wax goes up is if enough people are coming on board that are new to match the 4% inflation that's going out to
no,
Or
but
the nodes, right?
or if the people who's already here needs to stake way more
More, right?
because there are more opportunities and they are more use
yeah,
cases for them to use their wax. But yeah,
yeah. So I would add there are
but
many layers to it, right? So one, if a product can't grow at 4%, technically, you have a dying product. So I think
Fair
4% is
enough.
a very reasonable rate of growth for projects, right? Unless, like, let's say, I don't even think at a million, if you can't grow at 4% a year, you still have a dying product. Or you have a branding problem where you have to solve it somehow, right? But I think you should grow at 4% a year user base. And second, that's just one layer, right? If you have that, then you can bring DApps on board, which can build stuff on Wax,
Yep.
which increases the turnover of the Wax, right? How much volume Wax itself has. More the volume also affects the price and demand, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so like
Yeah. I mean, more tokens.
dollar,
Like,
right?
yeah,
So
if there was,
dollar
yeah,
dollar is inflating every year, but it's rising against the other economies, right?
yeah,
Why?
it
Because
still
there is enough
works.
demand for the dollars to get the trading volume. It's
Yeah.
not it's not just usage. There is net inflation, but it's
Right.
still turnover is way too high to maintain that upward cycle.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, this is something that we, have thought about as far as like launch bags and why we kind of moved into meme tokens and wanted to make a launch pad that could, sort of enable all kinds of tokens, right? Sort of going into that space, because then the DeFi space and Mike's working on it, Waxpaca and Nefty Blocks are working on it with Wax on Edge, right? Like that space is interesting now, and I think it's going to become more interesting over time. Then like that could stake, you're now incentivizing people to be locking up Wax at at a much larger scale than just like what they would need to do to do their kind of relative transactions, excuse me, or what have you. So I mean that I'm hoping anyway, like I can sort of see where that would sort of help the whole ecosystem match and exceed that 4%, even if we're not getting as many user acquisitions. But I mean, at the end of the day, like it
No, but the
right
problem
now,
that,
if we don't 10x the number of users on Wax, then every
yeah,
single business on it is going to fail.
yeah, the problem with the existing setup is we're targeting the same users and the same
Right.
values, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not
We need
getting
to.
the fresh new purchase buyers in. Like, we have to get fresh new buyers into
Yeah.
the system.
yeah, I think that there's something that happens because there's a lot of people saying the responsible for doing the marketing is the Wax team, which is true to some extent. But go, for example, to Ethereum, and do you think it's only the Ethereum team doing the marketing?
But
No,
they're
there's
funded, right? A
there's
lot
the
of
Uniswap team, there's the Aave team, there's this protocol team. There are lots of teams doing that effort, marketing effort to onboard people to their platforms and then onboard people to Wax. But if
but
the problem is that if we don't have teams building
yeah.
on Wax, there's no marketing effort, and we will never have enough teams building on Wax if there are no users. So we have kind of the problem of
Yeah.
chicken
Well,
and egg
and this
here.
is like this is like kind of feels sometimes. And again, like Wax will do what Wax is going to do. I totally take your point, Juan.
Yeah.
Then it kind of comes down to the people that are working here, and thankfully lots of them come on the show. Every other one that is working to help the whole ecosystem, please come on the show, right? Like we're sort of it, right? And we're doing the things like you're getting on the Telegram app. We're
Yes.
talking about going multi-chain. We're talking about user acquisition over and over and over again, and that's where our energy and attention is going, right? And you sort of pivoted to those things, and hopefully we can create a critical mass that bootstraps that, it like gets us out of that sort of conundrum, right, Rowan? Like the if we can, the people that are kind of left and are still working, get to that point where we hit a critical mass of and it just shows, Wax goes from 3 cents to 6 cents. Well, that's a fucking story, right? It's so sad that it's a story, but it would be, right? And then hopefully we can see some more projects, some more movement, and then that momentum begets other momentum.
Yeah. I want to add to this. So, like, there are a lot of other teams building on like other projects. So, for example, you said Uniswap and all, but the thing is, all of these teams have funding, right? They have funds, like they earn revenue, real revenue, and then they are able to use it. But imagine, go to the beginning, right? Like when it was 2016, 2017. What did Ethereum did? What did Dawn did now, right? They bootstrap the teams. They support these teams and connect them with bigger projects. They help them get to Binance. They help them fund. They have a lot of grant program, right?
Sure.
All that kickstarts the system. These projects grow, like these are in-house projects that grow big, and now they're at a point where they have enough funding to onboard the users by themselves, right? But almost every chain has handheld initial projects and help them grow big. So I think
Sure.
that's missing with Wax.
Sure, I fully agree with that. And what happened with Ethereum? They helped a lot of projects in the beginning. Then they have the developer conferences every year in several countries, and they organize hackathons, and they meet with people in real life, face to face.
Yeah.
And for me, it's way easier to give someone $500,000 if I've seen him in real life, I've spoken with him, I had a beer with him, and so on, than doing that with a total stranger that I've only met online, and I don't know. I know nothing about him. So it's. I think that that's something that we have never seen on Wax, except for I think that. The conference that we organized, then Atomic Hub organized something, and I also know that William Quigley organized a very small meetup in Amsterdam once. But besides that, I haven't seen a Wax exclusive event trying to promote the chain and
Right. I mean, I wonder, even if they did, you don't even necessarily have to start your own event, right? Like we went to like a little Wax event for NFT NYC back in the day, a few years ago, and it was pretty good. But like they could have done a ton of shit, right? Everyone's there. Have workshops, have have a little hackathon that's there, and basically like piggyback off of another thing. And there's a lot more people there. Right, like that.
And I think nowadays it's more effective to organize side events to a bigger event than organizing your own, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you have to do that. You really have to be willing to do that and get things going. And I think there's also something else. There has to be a very clear vision for the blockchain. Whichever blockchain it is, there has to be a leadership and there has to be vision. And it doesn't matter if the vision is wrong, but go and promote that vision and make sure that everybody is on the same page and building for the same reasons and whatever. And it's better if the vision is good, but if it's not good, even then, make sure that everybody is in the same page.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm glad we solved all the world's problems. Now we'll just have to get the Wax team to constantly watch this show every single day.
No, but I think the Wax team, they are doing things.
For sure. It's not that they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they are so this is one lens on it, right? So I think from their angle, they are also cash strapped. I feel strongly cash strapped, so they can only pick and choose certain things. So that's definitely the case. But like I feel that they, on the other hand, even though like I'm disappointed in them in certain things, they are really smart because they figured out the meme coin wave before it came. It was a thing, what they did with Woofy is really smart because they have a lot of these mini grants. They they are sending to a lot of people.
Yes.
What this did is it created a lot of DeFi activity on our chain, right? Because almost every farm is incentivized with WOF, right? Everyone is getting WOF, and these are some extra dollars. So they built a liquidity on Solana, and then they bridge some like essentially what they did is they build a successful project on Solana, and then they use some amount of that success to fund Wax chain, and then bring up the Wax DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I think they can only do so much. Like it definitely resulted, but it will be like Woofy will be a success outcome for Wax if let's say Woofy goes to 1 billion or 2 billion valuation.
Yeah.
That's when you can really pull the chain up. But I think that's not the only thing they should do. They should figure out other things to do, and they should like I think the most important thing to do is find the right use case for vaccine, so that like they have to know what they want people to come and build on Wax, so that they can go out and sell this to that specific segment of people. I don't think that has happened yet. They have been doing some things with Funko and all, but that's about it, right? Like, what's the last project they onboarded to Wax in the last 2 years? I don't see like any good projects. They did in a lot of projects in 2021, but after that, like it's almost non-existent, right?
Yes.
All right. You know what project really needs to drop on Wax? One
Launch Wax.
original guitars.
Oh, yeah, but even if it drops on Wax, just think about that. If I drop original handmade guitars on Wax,
Yeah.
You won't get the valuation.
well, that's the thing, exactly.
Yeah.
Each guitar should sell for at least $3,000 to $5,000.
Right. So like, yeah, you just what's
How
the
many people will come
$500,000
to
Wax
Wax to
between
buy?
friends?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, I mean, that's again, you just established the conundrum, right? Like, if you're in a thing that isn't growing and isn't attracting new users constantly, or doesn't already have them, then yeah, like, why would I do it? Why would anyone do it, right?
And that's where I think that DeFi is so important, because if there is a killing DeFi ecosystem on any blockchain, let's say wherever, and I'm making profits there, I have 10K worth of profits, 15K, 20K, 25K, 50. Then I can say, okay, there's this cool NFT that looks very nice, whatever. I will spend 5,000 on this NFT. But if I'm making pennies or making nothing, I will never go for the 5K NFT.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. So first, I have to be able to make profit, and once I'm profitable, then I will spend my money on stupid things.
This is the
but
way.
not before.
I mean, this is like, it sort of, and we saw this, right? Like, if you if you bought into Wax for $1,000 in 2017, whatever the fuck it was, right? Like, before that big push, and suddenly like Wax is 50 cents. I made all kinds of stupid decisions. Right, or just for fun or for whatever, because it's just a made up number. It's just now a really big made up number, right? So I think we see a lot of that stuff. And again, like, we can't, the only way to engineer that is to actually have an absolute ripping amount of demand. And now, because of the education that we had, we want to create that demand without like hyperinflation projects, and that's way harder. It's just way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, TC, we all did. Yeah, can confirm.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we have a big challenge ahead of us.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But it's better than doing nothing.
Of course. Of
So-
course.
Rock and roll. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh yes.
All right, so now, Mono, we gotta do the 3-way thumbs up again, because it's so much fun. Because we got
Let's go.
oh, hey, is your arm working now?
No, just
Oh,
here.
it's still there. Just no
No, let's do the three
brother
hands
of mine.
thing.
Yeah, no, the 3 hand things are more fun anyway. Boop me
Oh,
over
bag of
here.
poo.
What's up? You guys rock. Thanks, man. It's never dull.